As darkness falls upon Gary, when evening turns into dusk, Isaac Marquez's lifeless body begins to stir. As he moves across the church and readies for service on this particular night, he feels a bit uneasy. Something is gnawing at his mind. What does Isaac fill his schedule with on this Friday night?
Well, I will do service as usual,
Mm-hmm.
but once that's done and I'm doing the usual cleanup of the church, um, as the people are still coming in to harbor themselves from the cold, I'll ponder to myself about the nature of all of this that has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know it's part of God's plan. I know He set me on this path, but perhaps if I could understand it better, well, perhaps it could help me use these new abilities to do better things than I thought I could.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking of who could possibly shed some light on this, well, the prince himself definitely could, but he's shown himself to be paranoid at the best of times, to restrict some of the knowledge that I desire to have about my condition.
Mm-hmm.
And so to to manage this thirst for understanding, I think I'll approach those he referred to as scholars, the Tremere. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard that term describing Mr. Morel, and I know where he is. I do have his contact, so I take my phone and I call Mr. Morel.
Mm-hmm. Phone rings a couple of times, and then a click comes through, and you hear a familiar voice going, mm, yes.
Mr. Morel, good evening. I hope
Mm.
the night is treating you well. This is Isaac.
Yes, yes, yes. I know Mr. Marquez. Mm. What can I do for you?
I was, I've been trying to figure some things out about our condition. Um, I, I,
I see.
I'm sure you were made aware that I am quite young to this new um, existence, and I was told that your clan are very well informed about these supernatural topics. Um, I was thinking that maybe we could meet up and discuss the issue. Perhaps we can help each other in some way.
Maybe I will come by in a car. 10 minutes. And he hangs up.
Sorry, just to clarify what he said. Come by in a car?
He'll come by in a car. Yeah.
Okay. Does he know where I am? I assume so.
Yep.
Okay.
He does know about the church. You did tell him about the church, so he knows about that.
Okay. I'll keep the I'll keep cleaning up the church until he arrives. Meanwhile, I will speak with my inner circle to allay their recent fears of my constant cleanups. Just to, I'll basically excuse it as I'm. I suspect that some of the flock are falling into their sinful sides, and I'm trying to see if that is the case, and if so, we must help these poor lost souls back
Mm-hmm.
into the light.
Mm-hmm. Um. So you wanted to just put them at ease, is that it? Or is there any...
Yes, I want to put them at ease. I don't need them to
Okay.
be so nervous about my activities.
Well, as you do, one of the members of the congregation approaches you and goes, "Did you have a chance to look at that letter? What was in it? Uh, Unusual for us to get mail here. What do you think?"
It is. It is. I've yet to. I've yet to open the box, and I think I will do so tonight. But
I see.
uh, don't worry. Everything's fine.
Oh,
I'm sure.
okay. And well, soon enough, you uh, are made aware by one of the people at the church that there is a car that has stopped outside of the church.
Yes. I will take the box, and I will nod to my congregation, say, "Do keep the church safe, and if you can, help these people, as we usually do. I'll be back in an hour or so."
They nod and just well, tell you to have a good evening.
Yeah, likewise, and do take care of yourselves. Yes.
Yep. Well, they
And
mill about the
placing
church.
placing my hand in one of the shoulders of the congregation, giving them a confident look, uh, nodding and leaving the church, I will go to the car.
Hmm. The car is a rather large SUV, tinted windows. Um, you can tell that there is one person sitting in the driver's seat, and basically one of the doors in the to the back seat is sort of ajar, so it's like open a bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll slowly open it, and if I
mhm.
see Mr. Morel inside,
Yeah, he
right,
is. He's sitting inside on the opposite side.
may I?
Of course.
And I'll get in, close the door behind me.
As soon as the door closes, you see the driver in front just puts the car into gear and starts driving. How about you give me a perception alertness?
Okay. At disadvantage, or
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, that. Okay. Okay. That'll be this.
Mm-hmm. Um, you notice the driver has... He's got something strange going on with his hair. What I mean by that is like he has his hair sort of combed to one side on top, but it's like he's got a big chunk of it missing on one part of his head, as well as from what you can tell from him looking back in the mirror every once in a while, it seems almost like his face is lopsided. And I can show you what this man looks like. He looks like this.
Mm-hmm. All right. Um. Well, does the car start to move,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, it's just driving along.
yeah? And as the car begins to move, I bid. I turn to Mr. Morel, settle the letter um, on my lap, and say, "Good evening. Thank you for accepting my request."
Oh, of course. I haven't really been asked by many to talk yet. I don't know whether that is normal in this place. or not, but apart from the prince, I haven't really talked to many here.
Unfortunately, well, even at my young age, um, I've realized that in um, in a society of kindred, trust is a commodity that is hard to come by. But
Yes.
I'm sure, given that the prince has vouched for you, you have nothing to fear in the city. Just a bit
Oh,
of a standoffishness here and there.
oh, it's not that I fear anything. It's just feels strange to be in a place without people to talk to. Not
Well,
quite like
do
Indianapolis.
I see. Well, do feel free to contact me anytime this need arises. I have, well, as I'm sure you've noticed, do have somewhat of a congregation already that I help with. Another person to talk to doesn't hurt. And if company is what you desire, I see I see nothing wrong with devoting an hour or two of my nights.
Now I'll keep that in mind.
Now, would it be wise to speak about the subject I mentioned right now?
Um, Go
And
ahead.
I glance at the driver.
Mm, Wyatt is trusted servant of the clan. You need not worry.
Very well then. I've been confused. I
Mm,
suspect what my clan is, but I've the circumstances of my embrace were unusual. The prince has taken most of the responsibility for um, my actions, as is demanded by tradition, but he is not my sire. I'd like to understand this condition better, um,
I
even if
see.
it is not specific to my clan. And the prince has referred to your clan as scholars, people who understand our condition better than most.
Well, we certainly make an effort. Mm. What exactly is it you wish to know?
Well, anything that can aid me in the coming nights and well the basic abilities we have. I've noticed that we all share certain uh, common traits, but each clan seems to have their own brand. Um, uh, I know that we can manipulate the blood to heal our wounds. I know that we can uh, use the blood to empower our physical attributes.
Mm.
But I'm afraid I don't know much else about our condition.
Um, well, surely you know more than that. You know our need for blood.
Of course, yes. And weakness to sunlight.
Hmm. So, so don't sell yourself too short. Hmm.
Well,
But what exactly is it you wish to know? Again, it's just still a
well,
bit vague for me.
any information I could research. I'm sure you have your ways of doing research yourself.
Yes.
Um, any ways I could research these things for myself would be useful. I don't suppose I'll find much information on our kind in the local library.
Hmm.
Um,
No.
and in addition, anything you can, um, anything you can guide me to understand about our powers, that would be most useful. I seem to be able to, for example, look into the eyes of people and tell them to do something, and they seem to comply easier than they usually would. For example.
Hmm. Yes, that does sound like um, telltale signs of dominate. Hmm.
Is that the name attributed to this ability?
This suite of abilities is usually named as such. Yes, it's one of the more common of the sets of abilities, if we should see it in such a base. Um, mm.
I see. Um, if I may ask, what would I be able to accomplish with this set of abilities, apart from
mm.
giving people orders? I tend to find myself more comfortable helping people rather than commanding them.
Well, in time, you'll learn that there are many things you can do with these powers, but it tends to be more about giving commands and such.
I see. I see.
Tends to be what it is about.
I see. And well, I've been. I know our blood can do some amazing things for us. Um, I've not been told how to create more of our kind, though I have been assured it's something that I cannot do accidentally, so that information is not something I particularly desire.
Yes.
Um, um, is there, like I said, is there any way that I could research this topic on my own? Is there any way you can help me figure these things out?
Mm, would be very, very, very difficult. Although we have access to a lot of information, our repositories and such are closed to outsiders of the clan. Mm, we have seen too often in the past that mm, when information or the access to it is shared too freely, the clan is taken advantage of. So
I see.
that will not be easy for you to do. I'm sure there are others that have information, but I don't think you'll get far looking to gain access to the premier
Hmm.
libraries.
Well, it's I was not aware that the Tremere had specific libraries for this topic, but it's
Well, not just for that topic, we have for many different reasons.
I see. Um, well, uh, perhaps then You could, for example, clarify some doubts I've had in the past. I've seen that the prince himself has mortals, as far as I can tell, that seem to know about our condition, yet they are trusted. Yet when I look at the traditions, especially the Masquerade, it seems to state specifically that we cannot divulge what we are to
Mm,
mortals.
yes.
How can this be?
Well, some mortals are not mortals as such. They are dependent on us for uh, blood. Mm, they drink our blood and in return gain a small measure of our powers.
Hmm, I see.
Wyatt here, for instance, he just takes a hand out to sort of point at the driver. It is one such individual.
Hmm, I
Give
see.
me a perception empathy.
God damn it. I mean, it's still good. Mm.
Yep. You clearly notice that this Wyatt does not like the way he's being talked about. He really does not like it.
I see. Is um, is this a willing exchange then?
Mm, what do you mean?
Well, I'm uh, what I'd like to know is, should one approach a mortal with this proposition, and should it be accepted? Is it something the mortal wants?
Very hard question to answer. Mm, uh, the individual mortal may not want it or may want it, and very much depends on the person in question. Mm, kindred blood is very addictive to mortals, however. So whether they want it for the purpose that they are addicted to it, or whether they want it because they enjoy the powers that it provides, is also depends on the individual ghoul in question. Mm, but
Ghoul is.
a ghoul is a a mix between a kindred and a mortal, I suppose. It is mortals who drink from
Ah,
uh who
it's the
drink
term
kindred
used
blood.
for. Okay.
Yes. Um, but yes, it is highly addictive to them, and they need to be regularly given more or the powers wear off, so to speak. But if they are maintained as such, ghouls can get almost all of the advantages of our blood with very few of the downsides. They can live for as long as we do. They can to a limited, in a limited way, at least, use the powers of those whose blood they drink. But in return, should they be cut off to access to the blood, they will rapidly age and fall apart after a long time of using or drinking the blood.
So after some times, it stops being a choice of theirs, becomes a requisite for their existence.
Yes, although at the point where it would kill them not to get more of the blood, it is because they're so old that they would have been dead without the blood too, usually. At least to my knowledge.
I see. And this this exchange, they seem to get some of our abilities and live longer. But what is to ensure their loyalty to us?
Well, they are subjected like all to the blood bond, of course. Other than that, they do need more of the blood to sustain their new way of life, and it's not as if a ghoul can easily change master, so to speak.
All right. I see. One last inquiry, if that would be okay. I've heard about this concept, a concept that I felt as well. I know precious little about something that will have such an impact on my existence for, well, for as long as I exist. This this beast that I've heard the prince talk about.
Yes.
I've I felt animalistic impulses that I assume should be attributed to this concept. What else would this beast? What other influence would it have over me?
The best way to describe beast would be almost like the animalistic, the instinct side of an animal. And sometimes you can almost feel it talking to you. It's strange, but you'll know it when you experience it. Usually,
I have experienced it.
I see.
Unfortunately, I know this feeling all too well. Hence my inquiry about what it may do apart from simply, well, the obvious risks.
Usually it wants to indulge, meaning actions which brings you closer to the beast often involves indulging in the darker parts of the, well, darker experiences of our existence. Murder, wanton destruction, causing misery, suffering, that sort of thing.
I see. Well, at the very least, I know what to avoid. It's not like I was motivated to do otherwise, but I know what to avoid to give this beast more control. Thank you for that.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
Well, I've also noticed that apart from the prince, like you said, you don't speak much with the other denizens of the city.
No, I have met with the sheriff and the prince, and the car ride, of course. Other than that, no one. The Knights of Columbus building was in quite rough shape, but we're getting there.
I'm sure with some care, the building will be back to its former glory, or at least a new one brought by your clan, no doubt.
That is the hope.
Well, if should you desire any help, people tend to listen to what I have to say, at least to mortals do. I try to help the community as best I can. Should you need any help from the common folk, I'm sure I could motivate some to do something that might benefit you, should it benefit them as well.
How about you give me another perception and empathy?
Mm-hmm.
When you mention about helping, so their helpful influence and everything, in the city. You just notice out of the corner of your eye that the driver is just sort of, he has a bit of a smirk on his face, and he just slightly shakes his head and then keeps his eyes on on the road.
Um, excuse me for a moment, Morel. Is everything all right, Mr. Wyatt?
Perfect. That's funny.
I see. Well, but yes, I'll. Should you need anything, Mr. Morel, any help I can give you would be a pleasure. And in exchange, I only ask that you are open to answer some questions when I desire a deeper understanding of our condition.
Depends a bit on the questions, but in general, I'm not opposed to such an arrangement.
Of course, of course. Well, should it be convenient, if you could drop me off at my church, it would be. Well, I'd thank you for it.
Mm, of course. You heard him. Wyatt. Wyatt just nods, and the car quickly turns around from wherever you are back towards the church.
Does Morel say anything on the way back? Does he make conversation himself, or is he mostly waiting for me to say
No,
things?
he doesn't really say anything, but he's like fidgeting with his like. And he just every once in a while he looks over to the box and whatever that you brought along, looking puzzled why you brought it along.
This, I've received it earlier tonight in the mail. I'm
I
not
see.
entirely sure what's in it, but I'd like to open it once I have some time for myself.
As is your right. I'll stop you.
Is in addition, though I'm sure you've noticed, but the Northwest, we are in the process of securing that area for the sect. If should you have any business there, I do have some knowledge of the area and the spots where it's most dangerous. Should you need any advice traversing the northwest of the city, you may call me and I'll advise you against specific areas should they come up.
Again, the mention of securing and trying to make the Northwest safe gets a smile and a shaking of the head out of Wyatt in the front seat. And this time, Morel catches it, and for just a second, you see him look up into the mirror and then back to you, and it just goes, well, I will let you know.
Of
If
course.
I have business there. But right now, that part of the city seems anything but secure.
Yes, it is a work in progress. It has only come up as a topic, well, very recently.
maybe I can ask few questions of you now.
Of course.
The ones who attacked us. Who are they?
We are attempting to find that out, though we know for a fact that there are some, if few, Sabbat in the city. We suspect they are the culprits, though, well, as far as we can tell, most of the uh, attackers present were kind. Um,
Hmm.
so we are currently trying to track down the source of the attack, and we have narrowed it down to two possibilities. Uh, there is suspected local gang violence uh, brewing up, and we are sure to um, tighten our grip on that issue should it be a risk to us. The other is Sabbat presence, obviously. Um, Sometimes they catch wind of our activities in the city, and well, I've I have enough experience with their kind to know that they there's very little of what makes us human still in them.
Hmm. Are you saying there's a mole in the sect? You said that
No,
they sometimes mm, know where you are and what you do. What exactly do you
well,
mean?
what I mean is sometimes they can, well, take advantage of less experienced kindred. For example, myself. Um, I try to do my best to go unseen through the city, but, well, I do not have hundreds of years of experience of tracking people down. I can only imagine what knowledge one of their kind has over me. We suspect that that might be one of the reasons of why they knew our location at, in that night.
Give me another perception, and
Hmm.
you notice for a brief second, Morel looks into the mirror with a bit of a puzzled look in his eyes, and the driver just shakes his head very slightly, looking back, and then Morel just returns to you.
Um, but if I may ask, um, this this question you've asked about a
Mm.
mole in the sect, is it based on experience back in um, I completely forgot what the name of the city he came from is as out of character.
Indianapolis?
Yes. Is it from personal experience of something that happened in Indianapolis, for example?
Mm. No. It just seemed odd to me that you said mm, that mm, you said that there was information that the bot would obtain, which it doesn't quite make sense to me, considering it takes quite a bit of knowledge and forethought to set up an ambush like what was set up at the bridge.
Yes, of course.
And
Hence why they are a suspect and not the. That's why I don't declare them a culprit outright. We are still investigating the issue.
not sure.
Should
Then.
we? Not quite. Not yet. We will be in the future. I assure you.
I see.
As I've said, uh, the area has been. Well, it has been. The task to secure the area has been given to us fairly recently, and well, for a week of work, I believe that we've pinned down enough locations of possible threats to start working on dealing with them. But like everything, it takes time to do these things.
Do you have a list of these locations?
I personally do. Well, some that I've found. Me and the group that picked you up from the airport, Catherine and Julianne. We have scheduled discussions about the topic, and we plan on moving forward with securing the area.
And which locations do you think that are of the most danger right now?
Well, we've confirmed that at least the concrete plant, it must be, if not a point of concern, then at least an easy spot for them to ambush our scouting efforts. We also are aware of some areas in the steelworks that seem to be, well, to not be populated by the local homeless population. And given the rumors that I've managed to obtain, it seems there is some gang violence or suspected gang violence in the area.
See.
There's also been talk of, well, I know it may sound a bit silly, but a talk of rituals, summonings of sorts. But, well,
Where?
unfortunately, the specific areas seem to be around the industrial district and the industrial mills. Why?
No specific reason.
Or forgive again my ignorance, but is it possible that these rituals are happening?
Absolutely not. Roll me a perception empathy.
Okay. Lying through his fucking teeth. Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, well, let me See? You think he's lying?
Well, if you say so.
Hmm?
But if this was a cause for concern, I think it would be best for all of us to know, or at least to be wary of such areas, especially if we're going to send people to deal with the issue. Um, if if rituals and conjurings are a thing, then, well, I'm sure you'd agree that sending a couple of people with guns or a diplomat wouldn't quite cut it, if that was the case.
Morel just takes a look over to the driver, and Wyatt just goes, "You don't have to worry about it. I can look into it."
Very well. Very well. Um, well, if I may ask, do uh, keep me posted on the issue. Um, it is, again, it is my primary concern that the area remains safe, and of course, the people living there are included.
Give
And
a
if
perception empathy.
disappearances, I'm percepting their fucking emotions this session. That's all I'm doing.
Percepting empathy.
Oh my fucking god! What are these rolls?
You again see Wyatt like rolling his eyes at the another one of these, we're gonna save the people of the city speeches, and he does not seem to care at all.
Well, even if even if the people weren't a concern, it is a concern for the sect. If something serious is happening there,
I
it may
never
be,
I never said it wasn't a concern.
of course, nor that I mean to insinuate that you were saying so.
Mm,
Apologies if that was what I inferred
mm,
from the way I spoke. Uh, what I mean is, it is a mutual concern of ours. It is
yes,
in the best interest of the city
indeed.
and the kindred of the city to know if these things are actual risks.
Yes.
If you think you can handle it, um, well, I'll leave you to deal with it yourself. But
Well, it's just going to be some stupid rumor. They exist in every city, and nothing's going to come of it. But we will check it out just in case,
of course,
to keep your
um,
mind at ease.
thank you, thank you. Uh, if you, should you require any assistance, of course, simply call on me. I'm sure me and my friends would be of great assistance.
Yes.
He does not take me seriously, does he? uh, at this point, how close are we to the church?
Probably like a block or two away. You can see that.
Okay. Well, if I look out the window and recognize that, I'll say, well, thank you for this conversation, Mr. Morel, and do keep in touch, yes?
Well, of course. A pleasant
Yes.
evening.
To you as well. I if I come across knowledge that may interest you, what brand of knowledge may that be, so I can contact you and we can speak about it.
I think you'll know it if you see it.
Very well.
Until next time, Mr. Marques.
Of course. It was a pleasure, Mr. Morel.
Hmm.
And when the car stops, open the door and leave, close the door behind me, taking the letter and the box with me.
Mm-hmm. The car drives off.
And I'll walk to the church, greet my congregation as I walk in. You know, if they ask any questions, I'll just say that I'm trying to spread the word to influential people that may assist our efforts in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll move to the back room of the church, basically the private area that I use for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take a seat, look at the letter, and unnecessarily take a deep breath as I open it and see what's inside.
The letter or the box?
Going for the letter first.
Okay. Inside the letter, there is a key, a little key, and the text in the letter simply reads, "Your good old friend," and then it just says R.
Hmm. I assume the key is for the box, but I'll just make an effort to kind of push open the lid.
Yeah,
I assume it's locked.
It's locked.
Okay, I'll use the key on it and slowly open the box.
Mm-hmm. Give me a courage roll.
Okay.
Okay.
Nailed it.
As you open the box, what you find inside is horrific in many ways. What you find is seems to be the face of your good old friend Robert, which is now lacking a head or anything else, and is sort of strapped to the sides of the or every corner of the box, and it seems to be connected to some sort of fleshy mound under the face, which basically does not do anything else apart from making the eyes move a bit around, but they don't seem to be looking at any particular spot, but they just move uncannily from side to side, and that is what you see in the box.
Yeah, immediately I close the box. I'm gonna lock it again and just press on the top of it. And move closer to it, and I'll try to listen. Because if this thing is moving, well, I hope it has some like sick mechanism in it or something. Because if it's something else, oh boy, this is trauma beyond trauma.
Give me a perception alertness. You think you hear some sort of almost like squishy sounds coming from the inside of the box, but it's hard to tell what is making the noise, but you don't hear any gears or any clockwork or anything like that, like you would at the back of a watch or something like that. But as sort of a sense of dread slowly starts to build inside you at the revelation that whatever this is clearly not mundane or ordinary. A familiar voice comes from the back of your mind. Oh, interesting work.
It's barbaric.
Well, that it might be, Isaac, but you can't say it's not interesting.
Is he alive?
Hard to tell, hard to tell, hard to tell. Whatever's in the box doesn't seem alive, but whether he is alive, who knows? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out someday, won't we, Isaac? Another voice, darker, comes to the front. Oh. We will find out one day, though, won't we, Isaac? Yes. We will certainly find out.
Leave me alone.
No.
I don't need your help.
Oh, you've always needed our help, Isaac. Where would you be without the knowledge that we provide? Where would little pathetic Isaac be without our help?
Look, I don't know what you are, but you want really, really awful things to happen. So how about this?
How about what?
Whoever did this, they are probably as animalistic as the last one we saw. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to making sure those filthy creatures don't do this again, or anything like this again, when it comes to those animals, I'll give you more leeway than I would otherwise.
You should, Isaac. We can destroy them all.
But there's a condition.
No. What condition would that be? What condition, Isaac? Yes, what condition, Isaac?
So far, you know it as well as I do, that what you can do, what you can help me do, also can help the people in this building. Should you continue to help me in those efforts to help the people here find redemption?
We always want to help, Isaac. That's all we want to do.
Well, so long as that's the case, for what I deem as help, then when we find those creatures, to them, you can do whatever you feel like doing. As awful as it can get, to them, you just make them perish. Make sure they don't hurt anyone else.
Oh, you don't know how happy it makes us to hear that, Isaac. And we look forward to working with you more in the future. And the voice and the other voices all seem to go burying deeper and deeper until there's but a whisper of them in the back of your mind, and then they're all gone.
Lord, I don't know why you've guided me to talk with these creatures, but I'll bow to your wisdom and I'll do my best to help everyone I can. I just, I hope this was the only way to achieve what you wanted me to achieve, because I don't know what these things are, but they, I don't know. I don't know what you want from me, but I'll try my best to find out and do your will. If you can hear me, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. And Isaac, just still pressing on top of the box, bows his head and sort of accepts that his current situation isn't what he would like it to be. It is the situation he finds himself in, and going forward is the only way he knows it's the only way he's going to get through this.
And with that realization, as the night gets darker and darker, that is where we're going to leave this side session. Until next time.